What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Danny the Bull back with another live stream, here to talk crypto markets, here to talk meme coins blasting off, here to talk about some of my favorite projects, MASQ, Mcade, and what's the third one? Drawing a blank. Gfal, Games for a Living. Talk about kind of what guides my thinking, my thought process as I continue to build my portfolio heading into the proper bull run. We're in the first inning, I feel like, of we're in crypto spring, right? And soon summer will be upon us and we'll be in a proper golden bull run. So part of my everyday struggle, I think, is just determining how to allocate, where to allocate. And so I'm going to share some of my strategy with you here today, putting some forethought into things to show you, my thought process, and maybe it'll help you guys out along the way. What's good? We got Justin in the house. What's good? Yes, we ball. Marcus Jones in the house. When Danny Bull Run soon. We got Smarty Pants, massive run going to come for Bojack. We have a connection to the creator from a personal friend in the project. Ooh, and a massive crypto caller tomorrow. Super stable floor, low market cap entry right now. I'm going to look at some alts, some meme coins. We're going to talk memes a little bit. I'm not a big meme coin guy. I don't really dive in. I did buy some COQ cock earlier this week, and that's doing very well. We'll check in on that, check in on some of the other things, and a lot going on up in here. Omioki in the house. What's good? Let's go. We got 21 people up in here real quick, here to talk altcoins. So we'll talk some of your altcoins later if you throw them in the chat. Puma in the house. What's good? Smarty Pants dropping I guess that is for Bojack that you just mentioned. Thank you for sharing. Raf Rodriguez in the house. What's good, buddy? Pixel, good friend here. Hey, fam, keep on stacking the bags. And that's really what it's about. It can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. This whole market can be very overwhelming, especially early on when there are coins coming at you left and right, and you're seeing people post their gains, and it's hard to figure out, what the next bag to buy is. And sometimes the next bag to buy is the bag that you already own. And it's about just kind of stacking and building out your positions. I have way more in my portfolio than I expected to have at this point. But, over the next few weeks, I plan to consolidate into my strong conviction plays, always looking at new opportunities. But some of those opportunities are short-term, and then some of them grow on to be long-term. But it's easy in hindsight to say, I wish I would have. How many times have we said, and I tweeted this yesterday, how many times have we said, I wish I would have bought more of that coin after it went up, after it does like a 3 to 4x, and you had a small position, and you say, I wish I would have bought more. Hindsight is easy. Foresight is a little more difficult. And in order to have foresight, you need to know where something might go. And, I don't know where all these coins are going, but I try my best to get a handle and a grasp on where they could go. So again, in this stream a little later on, I'm going to go through a few of my coins and walk you through that process, because I think it's helpful. B-Dubs in the house. What's good? R3A. Hey, what's going on today? What are going to do today? Yes, sir. Today I've been also stacking cash, and just trying to keep USDT, a bag of USDT, in the event that we get nice pullbacks, because I want to be prepared. And so I can't be 100% in my crypto. Please don't talk meme coins. Talk about other. I'm going to touch on meme coins a little early on, but the majority of this is going to be focused on some real coins. So you won't be disappointed. Smarty Pants, we know you the alt boy, but I want to shill one meme anyway. Yes, sir. Shill your coins, man. Grapes Mobile Gaming, it's new. Haven't heard of that one. Justin, yes, COQ. That's what he's referring to, that rooster emoji. Has anyone noticed that OMI goes up? Yeah, I noticed that. My whole portfolio was red today. OMI was green. It does what it does. And Season 3 OG said he's heavy on VV collectibles. And some of the VV stuff is also, I'm noticing Todd has almost doubled. A bunch of the grails I see moving, so it's interesting to watch that also. But let's get into, let me share my screen and let's get into some news first while more people funnel in. There is, the ETF news continues to come in. Gary Gensler was on TV earlier this week talking about how the court ruling has forced them to take another look at the Bitcoin ETF. So maybe he's laying the groundwork in his words there to, lay the foundation for the possible unveiling an approval of the ETF in January. We keep getting more and more hints now. There's, economists and everyone estimates that there's over 90% chance that it hits. It'll be interesting if the opposite happens and it doesn't get approved and it gets, they get shut down again, how the markets will react to that. So I don't expect that to happen, but always open to multiple outcomes and possibilities. So keep that in mind. What was interesting was I came across this article. This is in reference to last stream, I talked about Jerome Powell's dovish stance and comments on, what was it? Was it Thursday or Friday? I think it was Thursday, maybe Wednesday, whenever. But he was very dovish for the first time, talked about officially pausing, officially, unofficially pausing, talked about prospective rate cuts in 2024 and beyond, which I don't think he had done before. And this article talks about the money that's going to flood into the system, and they call it the Biden bailout, because we all know that it's an election year in 2024. And I was watching, I don't know if it was Ivan on Tech, I was watching some video that brought up a good point that the Bitcoin halving coincides with U.S. presidential election years. I don't know if Satoshi did that on purpose, but pretty genius. With an election year in tow, that the incumbents, the Biden administration is not going to want a weak economy heading into the election. So this article talks about and highlights the amount of money that's going to flood into the system when those rate cuts take place. And I think they're quoting the All In podcast, which is, Chamath. If you don't watch the All In podcast, it's a good one. That's Chamath Palihapitiya and the other guys, was it like David Stark? I forget his name. But let me pull it up. David Sachs. David Sachs said the Fed is preparing a Biden bailout. It has revised down inflation projections for 2023 and 2024 and is signaling upcoming rate cuts. And they go on to say, if the Fed cuts rates in Q1, that makes everyone feel really flush with cash. It takes about 6 months to work its way into the system. That's going to give a big boost to the Biden campaign. And they estimate that you could see about $1 trillion flood into markets. And Chamath Palihapitiya doubled down on that. So the setup is there. We've talked about that. The setup is there for 2024, Bitcoin halving, rate cuts, money flooding back into the system. We're going to see what happens. But it's looking Pretty dope. And if you didn't see, this week was kind of crazy with sales of the Solana phone surging as people traded bonk arbitrage. Bonk went from $200,000 market cap just, what was it, a week ago? And it surged to $2 billion, of course, off of Coinbase and Binance listings. But also, if you bought a Solana Saga phone, when it was first released, there was, at the time, what was $10 of bonk in there that you could activate through minting, I believe, an NFT. 30 million bonk was $10 in the bear market when people got this phone. That same bonk is now over $700. So it's worth more than the phone. So there's this arbitrage between people are, chasing the phone to get the bonk. I bought the phone, not quite for the bonk, because I expect that bonk to go down in value, but because I've wanted the Saga phone just as kind of a collectible, because I think in 20 years, that's the first, if Solana goes on to be like a mainstay in this crypto space, that first phone, I think, will be quite a collectible. You throw into the equation the 30 million bonk and the fact that now you're hearing that there are going to be more airdrops for Saga holders. So we're hearing more airdrops. There's another meme coin that I think is doing an airdrop for Saga holders. There's shadow mining with the phone that's coming. Samo is the other meme coin. That's another dog coin over there. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we get more airdrops for that Saga phone. And shout out to Jem in the Telegram group who put me onto that, and they sold out immediately. And if you go on eBay, they're selling now for $2,200, buy it now, etc. They've been selling out for $2,000. It's kind of crazy. So pretty dope to see. But let's take a look at, while we're on it, the first meme coin on Avalanche, COQ, that rooster coin, has been printing like crazy. And if you got into this one early, you did well. And I think it was Sound Money. If you follow him, he's part of the VV community, and on Twitter had posted that he bought $500 worth of COQ token, and it went to $10,000, and that was as of yesterday. It's ballooned to $100 million market cap. I bought it at about a $40 or $50 million market cap. And again, if you need to be in places where there is alpha, and people, like, by the time you hear about it on Twitter, oftentimes it's too late. And so you need to be in places where you're getting alpha. A good place for that is Ron's Cryptotherapy Telegram. Their information was shared about bonk when it was at 200 million and COQ at a fraction of what it is now. And here's Sound Money, speak of the devil, tip of the, I'm not going to say it, I don't want to get demonetized here, but shout out to Sound Money. And what's funny is, at my first glance, I was looking for, so this makes sense. This meme coin makes sense because it's the first one on AVAX. And bonk went crazy because it's the first meme coin on the Solana chain. And now as AVAX is gearing up for a great cycle, I think it will overtake ADA in market cap. It's going to flip ADA. You've got its first meme coin. And when I was searching, and we were talking about meme coins on AVAX, I kind of bought the wrong one at first. I bought, and maybe it'll still turn out well. Where is it? Not this one. Trader Joe token or something like this. It's another meme coin on AVAX. It's under Joe Hat token. Here it is. I don't really mess around with memes. I consider my money gone when I buy one, but Joe Hat token, it's like a Trader Joe thing. I bought it under $1 million market cap. It went down a bit from there. It's at like, now it's at like 400,000, I want to say. But my man Sound Money said buy COQ. It's the first one. In the Telegram, they were saying buy COQ. So I bought some, but a little after these other guys. So still making good gains. And if it might be, so to get into Coquino now, you're kind of chasing, right? So, and not to say it can go up to $500 million or more in market cap. It's still printing, but just be very careful. Long term, I think that this will do well, being the first meme coin on AVAX, and it's very memeable. It's very important, right? Is the memeability of a token and those rooster picks and the jokes that go along with it make it a very memeable token. So one, if you're not chasing it, which I don't recommend chasing anything that's gone up a bunch, you can keep it in your back pocket as something to add, because, you know, Bonk had gone bonkers or crazy, I think, back when it first came out, I believe. Let's take a look. Well, back here. I don't know what that. So, I mean, it had spiked up and crashed down. Of course, then there was the bear market. But you know, this mini meme season that we're in could totally wear off. And if COQ went down, it might be a good time to pick it up at that point, because these things can get to the $1 billion market caps in a proper bull run, specifically when they get listed on major exchanges, right? Because Coinbase has no fear of listing a meme coin like this because it's decentralized, right? So if it checks the boxes. But, and there are other meme coins out there. There is on ADA, there's, what's it called? I wrote it down. SNEK, SNEK token. Now there's like, there are imitations of COQ. There's meat. They're really going with the theme. So interesting. Sound Money says it's only 10 days old and bigger market cap than OMI. It's wild how crazy this whole space is. But, you know, playing with memes is, whenever I buy, again, I never allocate a good amount of money. I never allocate more than a few $100s to a meme coin. Once I buy it, I kiss the money goodbye. My goal is to catch one super early, like Sound Money did here. Maybe my buy at 40 million will yield me a good return long term, but we'll see. Michael James asks, how do you join the Telegram? You can DM me. It is a paid group, so it's normally $250 for a year through the end of 2024, but there is a holiday discount of $175. Well worth it, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of it. It's because if you get one good call in there, that pays for your time for the whole next year. And there have already been a bunch of good calls in there, including this one. Yeah, Cornucopias is on fire. Also doing great. And Doctor of Stuff is someone who was talking about this project very early on. I think he got in on the he might have got in on the pre-sale for that one. Yes, sir. All right, let's talk about. So I'd mentioned, I try to wrap my head around how I'm positioning myself in my tokens, and you got to start with setting an expectation of where these tokens could possibly go. And so today I spent some time thinking about that and mapping it out, because for a lot of these things you talk about, I read on Twitter that, games for a living, which I love and I hold a good bag of it, can do 100x from here, but it really can't when you take into consideration the dilution that's going to come in, right? It's going to get heavily diluted. 2% of the token is entering circulating supply every month, which doesn't mean that it's not going to do well. It's going to do well, but it's not going to 100x because the market cap is just going to swell. And so you need to understand where things are going in order to kind of position yourself right, but then also know when to get out, because that's even more important, is selling, but knowing when to sell. So I thought about that today, and I'm doing this with all of my coins. And I started with a few of them. MASQ, which if you've been watching the channel and in the Telegram, you'll know I have loved since a $6 million market cap. It's now at about a $19 million market cap, still cheap in my opinion, and a lot of long ways to go. But I did a breakdown of different holdings, right? How much 5K worth, 5,000 MASQ tokens would be today, valued at 2,700, et cetera, all the way to 35,000 tokens would cost you today. It's 54 cents, $19,000. But the price is not going to remain here forever. And I think it's got great upside potential, considering that ATOR, which is another privacy token, went to $160 million market cap not too long ago. It's since plummeted after they had some tech issues. And now they've shifted what they're doing, the direction they're going with that project. But for me, I don't know how high MASQ can go, but I think $100 million market cap is easily doable. And that would be more than a 5x. And I think that's easily doable, right? Once it gains some more awareness and traction. What I love about the project is that, and I've said this before, so if I'm repeating myself, it's pretty much fully diluted. So I believe 92% of the token is already in circulating supply. They have a working product. It's a decentralized web browser. You can download it now. You can run nodes on it. You can use the VP. They have like a whole ecosystem built into their privacy network. So, I think about how high it could go. I think 100 million market cap is easy. I think 200 million market cap would still be right around where OMI is today. If many of us are in the OMI token, it could 11x and be worth just a little more than OMI, worth a little more than COQ. So I think $200 million market cap is very doable. And when I think about this token, I think that it could get to a $500 million market cap in a proper bull run, which would be about a 26x from where it is. But I think that's kind of a conservative look. And so I think about, part of what I think about when I'm buying and allocating is, how many tokens do I need to hit certain price points, right? And so, for instance, if you had a bag of MASQ today that's worth about $10,000, 20,000 tokens. I think a $500 million market cap in a proper bull run is, it's very achievable. Anything could happen, of course, but that 20,000 tokens takes you to more than $250,000, 26x. And then moving on to bigger figures, if it was at $1 billion market cap, which I'm not sure it could get there, I have to figure out, I have to do more comparables and see how high I think it could get. But let's say, for instance, it got to $1 billion market cap, which many tokens will get to $1 billion market cap, but it's not a small valuation. But there will be many tokens, probably there were 115, I think, last cycle. I think the top 200 tokens next cycle, considering that the whole asset class is going to swell in terms of its value. Could it be a top 200 token? And then at that point, 20,000 tokens would put you at over $500,000, considering if you held throughout. So when I look at MASQ and I try to think, where could this go? Should I buy this instead of other tokens? I have to think about, how do I value it? Its future value. And for me, when I look at MASQ, I see it as a potential 20 to 50x token. All right, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And again, that's potential. And everything in this whole space is very risky, and anything can go to zero. We all know that. And so I don't over allocate. I try not to go more than 5% of my portfolio to any one specific coin, unless it's like a blue chip like Solana. I have a ton of Solana, and I'm comfortable with that. I have a bunch of ADA. I'm comfortable with that. So that's MASQ. When I think about, should I buy MASQ or should I buy games for a living, I have to think about the potential multiples that I think each can do. And I changed. Now, games for a living, you have to understand, is what I consider to be a young blue chip gaming play, right? I love the team, love the narrative. It's an ecosystem. It's a strong name brand early on, right? It's one of the front runners. It's had very strong on chart. However, it's important to understand the dilution that I talked about earlier. So right now, games for a living is at about a $60 million market cap. Let me correct this. And so you might ask yourself, how from a $60 million market cap to a $500 million market cap, is that only equal a 2x? And the answer is because by the end of 2025, with their vesting schedule, they're going to be many more coins in circulation. And so today, if you took today's price of games for a living and applied it to the coins in circulation in 2025 towards the quote unquote prospective peak of the market, you're talking about really a $250 million market cap. So when I buy games for a living, I'm not selling until peak of, not peak of market, before the peak, but, until after Bitcoin reaches new all-time high. And so this market cap is going to swell. It can be deceptive when you're buying tokens. And so it's important to understand these things. So end of 2025, a $500 million market cap is roughly, I look at it as almost 10 cents. All right, which is about a 2x. Now, the thing with games for a living is I think it's going to go into the billions in terms of market cap. Something like MASQ, a privacy token, decentralized web browser, I think, calling $1 billion market cap, that might be big on it. The gaming tokens, as you saw last cycle with Axie, with Mana, with Sand, the blue chips and the ones that, get that retail hype or whatever, or just garner the attention, those are going to get into the $1 billion market caps. And I think that games for a living is one of them. So while I understand there's going to be dilution, it's what I'm holding and I'll accumulate because I think that it's going to go beyond $1 billion. When I look at games for a living, I think a $4 billion market cap is doable in 2025. And that would put it at roughly a 16x and 64 cents. It's currently 4 cents. So a lot of people talk about a $3 Gfal, right? And I don't, to me, a $3 Gfal token is a lot. It's well beyond, $8 billion market cap. So it would be about $24 billion in market cap. So when I look at something like games for a living, I think, well, in the future, considering it's a gaming token and rather blue chip at that, I can see it getting into the billions. So in my mind, I'm thinking this could be a 16x to a 32x. I can see a dollar token. Could it go higher? Yes. We could see market caps well beyond what we saw last cycle. So yes, but conservatively, I think a $4 to $8 billion market cap on some of these blue chip ecosystems is doable. Will it be games for a living? I don't know. It's hard to call which ones will win. And so, Nakamoto Games seems like it's going to get up there. I think games for a living is also going to get up there. We'll see if it does. I'm creating a basket of gaming tokens, and if some of them hit, I'm good. And if some of them don't, it's all good. So for this, I think a 16x to like a 30x on games for a living is doable. So when I look at those two projects, different sectors, and again, maybe MASQ doesn't do what I think it can do, but when I look at upside, I think MASQ has more upside than games for a living, even though it may not penetrate into the billions in terms of market cap. I do consider games for a living a safer play because of that brand recognition that it already has and how the market is already, kind of rewarding it, I guess. The third token that I did, and I'm going to do this for all of my holdings. I'm going to do this for all of my holdings. And maybe if you guys find this sort of thing valuable, then I'll do more videos like this and share my thoughts and research. But the third one that I did it on was Mcade. And Mcade, I think I consider a little more risky than games for a living because it's a little more unknown, smaller, it's newer. It doesn't have that, well-known team behind it, but really small market cap still. Mcade is sitting at $25 million market cap. And if you watched my stream last week, I told you this was my heavy buy last week because I felt like it was undervalued. I felt like it was undervalued relative to other tokens in that sector. And it went up about 50% in the last week after I was calling it, and we were calling it in the Telegram. And it's still, I think, pretty cheap. So Mcade is another ecosystem play. I would consider it more of a risk than games for a living for the reasons I said before. But with more risk comes a little more reward. And I think it's got the potential to do really good. Why I like it is because unlike these other gaming projects, Mcade is almost fully diluted. And they have deflationary mechanics. Now, where they burn tokens, they recently burnt, I think they have 2 billion total that will ever be in supply, 1.8 billion in supply, and they recently burnt 21 million tokens. I tried to do some research. I'm not an expert in their burning mechanisms, and so I can't project out as to how many they're going to burn, or at what rate. Ron is doing a live stream with the founder of Mcade early in the week. I'll let him share it on Twitter, but that'll be interesting to get more insight and information on this gaming ecosystem project. So when I look at Mcade, again, it's not going to be, devalued through dilution. That market cap isn't going to swell like Games for a Living, like Miria, like Naka, through dilution throughout the market. And in fact, it'll be a little deflationary. So I didn't adjust the market cap like I did for Games for a Living. Okay. And it's got a market cap of about, I want to say 25 million when I did this spreadsheet, which would mean that getting to a $100 million market cap is a 4x from here. And I think with these sorts of tokens, 100 million is super easy. We know that. And it could happen relatively quickly, right? We saw Nakamoto blast past 100 million. Games for a Living is getting if another run on Games for a Living, it'll get to 100 million right now. And so you're going to see these tokens pass this 100 million mark, but that's only the tip of the iceberg, I think, for a token like Mcade that's coming from a smaller market cap and doesn't have that heavy dilution. And so, could this get to a $500 million market cap? I think easily, if they execute, gain some awareness, put out some games that people play, get some tournaments out there, and just, continue to chip away. People are going to look at, as the big boys move up, they're going to look at the smaller tokens, and those are going to get pulled up like a magnet, right? Because people are going to look for the next token that hasn't popped. It's how these things work. Naka popped, Gfal popped, and then the other tokens started to pop. And then all the small ones are starting. And you're going to see that play out throughout the cycle. And so I think a 500 million market cap for Mcade is easily doable. That would put it at a 20x from here. But, these gaming tokens, I think that many of them are going to get to the billion-dollar valuations. And it's a possibility with Mcade, and that would be a 40x. And that still would have room to grow considering the sector it's in. Now, of course, that's dependent on marketing, like the visibility of the token. If influencers pick it up, there's so many different factors, right, that cause things to pump in markets. But this crypto space is irrational. And for the sector that this is in, I can see a $2 billion Mcade, easily see that. Maybe it doesn't get there, but is it possible? Yes. I don't think Gfal has the potential to do an 80x from where it's at. It's not going to happen. For Gfal to do an 80x, it would have to go to a lot higher. Do the math, right? Its market cap would be in the 25 billion, 30 billion. And this is only a $2 billion market cap still, right? So could it go to a $4 billion market cap? That's also within reason. So when I look at Mcade, I look at it as, when I'm investing, 20x I think is conservative. Potentially, it's one I think that could do 100x when you take into consideration if it rips and gets into the billions. But conservatively, I would say 80x. And this is kind of where I'm at with my thinking, because it's hard to think about, what do I buy next? Or what am I adding to? What do I like more? In order to figure out what you like more, you have to figure out where they're going. You have to take into consideration things like dilution, and then you can allocate properly. For me, so the question then is, well, why don't I sell all my games for a living for Mcade? And the reason I don't do that is because they're also like there's risk reward, right? So for me, Mcade offers more reward, probably carries a little more risk also, because it's not as, it doesn't have that narrative. It's not as well known as games for a living, and so I'm just going to create a basket. I'll create a basket and, allocate amongst ecosystems. And then when you think about what's the $1 million bag, and I think about that, man, I want some 7-figure. I want to, I want my portfolio to be 7-figure portfolio. But just these 3 bags. Let's say I hit on MASQ and it hit a $500 million market cap, and you had 20K tokens. It's $250,000. Games for a living, let's say, did a $4 billion market cap, right? So I'm not going to that super bull scenario. And you had 250,000 tokens, which is about $10,000 right now. That'd be 160K. So what's that? That's 280, 160, 360. That's 440. And then on Mcade, let's say it had 750,000 tokens, which is under maybe around $10,000, a little less. And it hit only 500 million. It's another 240. Those 3 tokens, those 3 positions would be almost $1 million. That's kind of how I'm allocating. Now, of course, anything could go to zero. There could be rugs. It's crypto, right? I don't have to lay out all those disclaimers, but these are the exercises that I go through and that I think about. And, when I'm planning and when I'm buying and building out my positions. So I wanted to share it because a lot of people ask, should I buy more Mcade? Should I buy more Gfal? Should I buy more MASQ? Should I buy more whatever it is? And there are different factors that go into your thinking. All right. And so I wanted to share some of those with you guys. One more thing before I get back into the chat is, I don't know if anyone saw that the founder of Mcade, Russ Mcade, officially joined Neo Tokyo, all right, last week. And I had said that a couple weeks back. I dropped that. I mentioned that I had heard that he was going to a meeting with Neo Tokyo. And so that, to me, is like another step forward for Mcade, because it's getting that Neo Tokyo endorsement. To not have it, I think, could end up being detrimental because of maybe the weight that they'll carry, right? And then if Alex Becker gives it mention, that's all it really takes, is for someone like Alex Becker, Elio, whoever, those big influencers, to start talking. And so there's that as well. So I wanted to share my thoughts on that. Let me get back into the chat. Justin says, if it's the future, I think when you buy is more important. I'm not sure. Do you mean like at the price points that you bought at? Then yeah, it is important. ICP, yeah, man. We talked about ICP on stream last week, my dark horse for the bull market. And ICP popped this week, and I'll explain why I think it popped. I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong because I don't follow it. Back into the top 20 tokens. But look at this chart. And someone mentioned it in the comments last week on stream. Now, I don't know if this pop coincided with Elio Trades talking about it in his video. So he just did a video of his portfolio, and he talked about ICP and why he liked it. And he mentioned how, this had a crazy, if If you remember when this came out, it was nuts. This was like not peak bull, but this is what. Oh, we think we're in altcoin season now. We're not in altcoin season. This is nothing compared to what altcoin season does, right? Look at this straight line up to $600 almost at peak. And then it plummeted like 99% to like $3. This was just $3. Back up to 11. So Elio was talking about how it's not going to go back up to almost 500 bucks, but even if it went to 100 or whatever, that there were big gains to be made in ICP. And I don't know if that's what made it pop, but it could very well be the reason for the last this pump over the last 7 days. And again, that's something to keep in mind. You want to get into positions before the big channels start talking about them, right? If you're buying something after it's being shilled by some of the bigger influencers, chances are it's already done a nice little pump. And so it's hard to figure that out, what's going to get pumped, but it's good to keep your eyes open. And if you like a project, like if you have conviction in internet computer and it's something that you like, do your thing. Pink Panther says Mara Games got a bag a few days. Good tokenomics, better than most low cap. Oh, Mara, that's talking about Mara. I've heard of Mara. Is that? I don't know. Sounds familiar. I'll have to check it out. What's good? Ed Jones in the house. Ed put me on to WagMe, which is another good gaming project. This is also a part of Neo Tokyo, and it's had a nice run up, but it's cooled off. And you're seeing that a lot of these gaming coins, a lot of altcoins that have run are cooling off. And so this is when you want to, start your positions, is when things are cooling off, pulling back, consolidating. I bought some WagMe. I'm up a decent amount. I bought it after Ed tipped me off in my DMs. So thank you for that. And I'm probably up still like 30-40%, even though it's pulled back. But, one that I've been buying, and I'll probably add some more after this stream, is Hello, which has consolidated quite a bit now. It had a nice run up, and it's consolidated, and it looks primed for a breakout. Of course, the whole market could, tank. But why I like Hello is because I feel like it's got the potential to get mainstream attention, because if you've looked at it, and I've talked about it on the stream, they've got a TV show coming out. They've got games. They've got a TV show. But if you look at like their Shark Tank-like TV show, Killer Whales, look at the influencers in there. Mario Nawfal, the big guy on like Twitter Spaces, Altcoin Daily, Wendy O. You know that these guys are going to be talking about Killer Whales, the big channels, because they're part of it. Altcoin Daily is a partner. And so it just made sense to me. And plus they have the gaming component. It kind of makes sense to me that this can grow into a very nice market cap. It's currently at, I want to say, $75 million market cap. And actually in the Telegram, I just did a small cap report on it. And so I'm adding to this position, and this consolidation period that we're in, this cool off that we're in, is a good opportunity to do that. Find what you like, Do your thing. Thanks for this super chat here. B-dubs, appreciate you. Have you heard of Good Games Guild? Do you like Beam? I do like, I might have heard of Good Games Build, but I forget about a lot of what I hear. I do like Beam. It's a good infrastructure play. I know people who have Beam. I don't have it myself, but Beam is a good infrastructure play. It's done well already. Let's look that up, and then I'm going to give Good Games a look. But Beam's market cap, I think, it's almost $1 billion. But this is one that could get, again, it's an infrastructure play. It's going to be a multi-billion-dollar market cap. I do believe it. I don't own it, but I do like it. And I do think it's going to get up there in market cap. Let me look up Good Games Guild. Ooh, nice small market cap. I'm going to write this one down of 8 million. So that looks good. Look at the chart, just popped. But yep, just popped today. But it was down, I guess, from the previous week. It looks like it's been in consolidation. It's ready to pop, like some of these. That's interesting. I'm going to take a look at it. Let me pull it up here to give everyone a look. So I like things like this that are ecosystem plays. I'm going to give this a good look. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. I like ecosystem plays. If it has a good team behind it, I like the market cap. Thanks, B-dubs, for bringing it to my attention and for the super chat. Justin says, isn't Altcoin Daily just a YouTube channel? Yeah, but they're also like aspiring actors. And I think that the entertainment part of it plays into what they do. So I don't know if they also helped fund Hello Labs or what their partnership exactly entails. But I know that they are into acting. They live out in Los Angeles. So it would make sense. Justin brings up a good point about Hello Labs because he's in the Telegram and we chat about things. And he said that, what if the show fails, right? What if it gets canceled before the first season ends? And so it's interesting. What's also interesting is what if it lands on a major streaming platform, right? What if it lands on not Netflix, like Hulu or something like that, or on a major channel? I like the possibilities there. Let me jump back into the chat. Patient Hodler, what's good? Just had my community portfolio stream. Guess who buying Myro? Let me look up Myro. Nice. I got to get Hodler up in here. You're supposed to stream last week, but I couldn't make it. I'm going to get Hodler on the channel. Myro token. $22 million market cap. I'm going to write it down. And I'm not buying too many new tokens because it gets overwhelming. But if I find one with a small market cap that I think could do well, I will open a position. I buy games for a living on Mcade. Or you can swap on MetaMask on the Binance Smart Chain network. And Ed Jones says, yes, so many promising gaming projects. It's hard to pick a select few. And I probably have, man, I've got a lot. I'm going to go through my basket. I'll tell you guys what I'm holding. It's my biggest ball. They're almost, My two biggest bags are Games for a Living and Medicaid. Some of these bags grew because I made money on them. Next, playable games, which I'd like more of. Lit Lab Games, still small market cap, I think under 20 million on Lit Lab. WagMe, which Ed put me onto. GameSwift, which I like. And GameSwift I mentioned last week as one that I thought again could run, and it ran. And I'll talk about GameSwift. Another ecosystem play. Had a nice run up to tracing. I think it was up a good 30% this week at one point. I like GameSwift because it's an ecosystem. It's like omni-chain, right? Which has an interoperability layer to it. It's like layer 0 blockchain gaming. Just means, I guess, that the token moves between chains or something. Ecosystem and big influencers are behind it, talking about it, like it. Ivan on Tech, Ron from Ran Now or whatever from Crypto Banter. Small market cap, still I think relatively 33 million on this one. Yeah, 33 million. It's going to incur some dilution. I need to do a deep dive on the dilution and think about how heavy that dilution is going to be, because so that market cap's going to swell. Same as Gfal and the others. I think I sold Gfal, forgot the reason. That's funny. So, I don't have like a 50x target on Games for a Living, but I think it can conservatively get to 20x. And I think it's, I don't know, nothing is safe, but the chart looks good. It just keeps going up. This is the way it's been. It's been retracing. I actually added some this week at just under 4 cents. And right now, today, it's at 4 cents. I think I added some at like 0.38 or 0.39. And I'm building out my positions because I'm not going to give away my positions because I don't like doing that, but I want a certain amount. I have a target somewhere in here is my target of how many I want of all of these tokens. Because, and I'll give you a hint, it's on the bottom half, not the top. But trying to build out big, sizable bags so that when they hit these market caps, my holdings are sizable. This is my plan. And I'm not only in the gaming sector, I'm kind of spread out a little. I've got my, privacy token. I got Veracity, which I've been accumulating. I've got Taraxa, which is like a layer 1 DAG protocol. Hoping that it can pull a Caspa, but we'll see. $56 Bitcoin gas fees. Yeah. Mcade, let me look into it burning. Interesting. Yeah. And if you're interested in Mcade, check out Ron's stream on Tuesday. He's going to be interviewing Russ Mcade. He's the founder, and you'll get more information. Don't buy anything because I talk about it or anyone talks about it. You need to do your own research, and that's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Mcade dropped. Like, of all my tokens, Mcade was the worst performing before this last week. I'll tell you that it dumped. And maybe it doesn't do well. I don't know. But when I bought Mcade originally, it was in this area, right? 0.007, somewhere around there. It popped. Went to 2 cents. And then it like crashed. It was a sell the news event because they just released the new platform. And it went back to test that, 1 cent. It went under a cent. It went back to 0.009. So this was my worst position. I was actually down on it for a minute because I averaged up a little. This wasn't my only buy down here. I averaged up. I bought some over here. And so it came back down and I was down on it. And I didn't freak out because I'd done research on it. Some tokens, if you buy them because someone else bought them and it goes up, it feels great. But when it goes down, then you question whether or not you should still be holding because you don't know about it. And so it's important to really do your own research and learn as much as you can so that you can have conviction, because at the end of the day, we're all responsible for our bags. And, you know, if there's a pullback on Bitcoin and it pulls into the $30,000 range, a lot of these things are going to take major haircuts. And then if you don't have conviction, you can get shaken out of your position. So I try to do research. I do research all day. And I'm constantly talking to people about coins. Do you use or do you think something like DEX tools can go? I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't follow them too much, so I'd have to look into it more. When you build your bag, do you roll profits from coins you don't? Yes, I do. Top up with real cash. So both. Good question, Marcus. So there are some tokens like VEMP that I bought, and I told you guys about it. It was this very small market cap, $1 million. At the time, it was $1 million. Now it's at 3 million, 3.5 million. I bought it low. I think I like DM'd Hodler and I was like, oh, check out this VEMP token. It already pumped a little bit. I probably got it like around here or something. I got it after a little pump. I DM'd Hodler and I was like, tell me what you think. Oh, check out this coin. It looks like it's going to pump. Or it looks like it's going to continue to pump. And I bought it. Not a lot. I bought like $300-400 worth. And it pumped 200%. This isn't a token that I love long term. I did my research. I'm not very impressed by it. Could it 50x from here? Yeah, it's a $3 million market cap, right? But I was content to take my gains here. So I had like $900 and I rolled it into a high conviction play. And that's one of my strategies, is to try to find what might pop. Palm AI is another one that I bought. And this was, Ron talked about this one. This was also in the Telegram. He talked about it on my stream. I bought Palm AI cheap at around where it is now. I made a good profit on it, a good 200%, and I sold it. I sold it pretty much at the top. And I'm not good at timing these things, but I took my 200% profit and I took that money. Again, it was a small bag, maybe $250, $300 I put in, turned it into $750 in 3 days. And I took that $750 and I plugged it into, I forget, Mcade. I think Mcade, before Mcade popped. And I recently bought a Palm again down here. Who knows? Maybe it goes back down more. I don't know. But that's like play money. And if I can do that and flip things into long conviction plays, because I'm kind of hyper focused on filling my bags. I'm hyper focused on reaching, a certain amount of all of these tokens: MASQ, WAGMI, GameSwift, Veracity, Rio is another one that I like. So I'm hyper focused on that. And so if it's something I don't believe in, but Palm could do a 50x, and maybe I missed out. Maybe I'll miss out if I sell, but I have to have a long-term strategy, and that's just what works for me. Other people like Jordan, who's up in here. Where is this guy? What's good, Jordan? Jordan we were chatting about VEMP and all these tokens, and he's letting it sit. He wants to let it ride. And so you could play it either way. Yeah. I'm going to get back up into the chat. Let's see. Pink Panther says, don't forget to take profits. Some of these gaming tokens are risky. Hype is high. A bird in the hand. Yeah. For me, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that the gaming narrative is going to remain strong in the bull run. It could cool off. I think it will come back. And so I think the big ones, the good ones, are going to do well. And I think for it's too early to take profits now. I take profits, like I said, on these low conviction plays or stuff that I don't love long term. That's where my profit taking comes in. My real profit taking is going to be during the proper bull run. Because I don't try to time markets. If I like a token, I like games for a living for the whole cycle. I like Mcade for the cycle. I like MASQ for the cycle. I'm not trying to move in and out of positions because I'm bad at timing the market. One, I think it's hard. It's impossible. Two, it creates anxiety. Three, I overthink things and I'll make mistakes. And for me, what works is simplifying my approach, and that is building bags for what I like, hodling until the market kicks in and we see some real gains, because it's nice that some of these have gone up, but the real gains, the real moves haven't been made yet. And so we'll see how it plays out, but that's my strategy. And for other people, your strategy might be what Pink Panther is saying: take something off the table. And that might relieve anxiety for you because now you've got profits and you're playing with house money, so to speak. And that's another strategy. It doesn't work for me because part of the way my mind works is I hyperfixate on building my bags. I want a certain amount of this, certain amount of that. And that's just me. But we all have different approaches and different strategies. And in the end, if the market performs the way we expect it to, we'll all be right in a way, right? We'll all make money. That's just my 2 cents. Thanks for the comment. It's an interesting thought. And I think, a lot of people struggle, I think, with that. Next question we got, Joey Brown. What about PAL AI? Yeah, I'm seeing PAL AI. People talk about that. Hello, I talked about. Love hello. Oh, I got this one. What do you think hello market cap could reach in the bull run? I think it has some good people behind it. That's in my next video, I think. Give me a couple yeses if you like the charts that I made, so I know. But what I'm thinking of in my next video, I want to do hello market cap projections. I need to look at dilution. I need to, think through it. And maybe I'll do like playable games. Great. Love the charts. All it takes is one person, Marcus. I'm gonna do it for you. Yeah. I'm gonna do veracity. I'll do hello, and I'll do maybe playable games for my next stream. Awesome. Yes, on charts. Good. I find them very helpful because, again, it grounds me. And you have to look ahead. So, like I said earlier, how often have we told ourselves, I wish I bought more. I wish I, bought more. If I think, when I look at MASQ and if I, in the bull run, and I think, oh man, this could be a $500 million market cap. But let's say, even if you cut that in half, but let's say 500 million. And I want to get to 25K, let's say. I don't want to give away my number. That's going to incentivize me to build up my bag to a certain amount, right? Because I'm looking at what I think the future valuation is going to be. And that's why I like doing this. because I don't want to look back and say, I wish I bought more of that. I'm going to miss a lot of tokens. Okay. I'm going to miss a lot of things, and that's fine. I just need to catch a few. What else we got up in here? Kumo in the house. What's good? He's a channel member. Thank you for being a channel member. Going into Omi, asking for a friend. So I have my bag of Omi, and I still think Omi, my perspective, my outlook on it hasn't changed. So, I think that it can still get to a penny or more, even up to 5 cents. But am I buying more? No, for 2 reasons. One is I have a bag of Omi. And if it hit 5 cents, I'll be fine. If it hit, 2.5 cents, if it hit a penny, I've got a decent amount of Omi. So I don't need to over leverage into it. But 2, I think Omi when I look at like multiples, I think it's possible that Omi does a 10x from here. If they don't deliver, or it can go up to my highest like price target, I think, and I've debated this with many people, is that 5 cent range. I think that's a stretch. I don't think it'll hit that, but let's say, what would that put it at from here? It's like 007. Is that like a 60x or 70x, whatever? So it's got a little more downside risk than the others, only because for me, Omi is also, it's kind of like it's not its first cycle. It's got older bag holders that are going to be looking to deleverage and sell on the way up. And it's an if-then scenario, because these other tokens, it's their first narrative. And they don't have to accomplish, they could promise you the world. And that's what Omi did in the first cycle. Promise you the world, and it's a first cycle. Market's going to top out, and you don't have to deliver on all that stuff. Your second cycle, you have to deliver a little more, because now what's the narrative? The narrative is they said they were going to do all these things. They didn't do them, right? But, Naka has leeway. Games for a Living has leeway. All these other projects have leeway. It's their first cycle. They also have no bag holders because everyone's in profit if it's your first cycle. And so I am spreading out. I still like Omi. I still hold Omi. My opinion has not changed on potential price targets for Omi. But I'm heavy in other alts also. Do you typically use a VPN? Yeah. So I'm from New York, and in New York, I have no access. New York has the worst regulations. I just have Coinbase, basically, and like Bit4X, because they're not blocked for some reason. So I need to use a VPN. And super easy to use. In the bear market, I learned these things that I didn't know before. One of them, I downloaded a VPN, paid $30, super easy. Press the button, and it hides, it tells, masks your location. I buy mostly on Mcade. Buy it, get it off onto my own wallets. I go in, get out. I recommend, if you're serious about crypto and you're looking to make money in this market, in this bull cycle, I recommend familiarizing yourself with a small exchange that will have these small tokens on there, because you're not going to be able to buy them on Coinbase. Something's going to be popping off like Pepe. Pepe's going to be popping off, and you're going to be like, where do I buy it? Where do I buy it? And if it's on only like Mcade and you don't have an account set up, you don't know how to navigate it, you don't have a VPN, you need to be ready beforehand, because these small tokens are going to, pop up, and you're going to need to be able to buy them. So I recommend it. Crypto Beehive says, do you use or do you think Dex check Oh, yeah, you had asked me that before. Yeah, I'm not sure. Are the people on Shark Tank actors? I thought they were in real life business. Yeah, they're real life business people. Um, what I'm saying is it makes sense for Altcoin Daily to be partnered with Hello because they're into entertainment. So I don't know if they're helping to produce the show or whatever. So that one, I have 10K. Man, a Vemp, love it. Jordan's a baller, man. That's a crazy bag. That's a good bag. I hope you do well with that, Jordan. I hope you do well. 7,000 of Snack. He's a degen. That's crazy. It's good stuff. So a lot of people associate Jordan with just Omi, but he's diversified quite well over the last few months. And that's also, you can't be in one thing. If you're just in something like Omi that's not moving, you're missing out on all this other stuff that's going on. And so I like diversification for altcoins, gives you protection, gives you exposure. I try not to be too overly diversified. Right now, I've got 30 tokens, I think, in my portfolio, which is more than I anticipated. A lot to keep track of. But don't forget to smash the like button if you're here. Got about 40 people live. I don't have SoCal to say it for me. Jordan's trying to stay less than 15 projects. Yeah. It's hard to keep up. I see other YouTubers talk about Cat Arena. Was wondering. Yeah, I had Cat for a little while. That's a small market cap, risky. We talked about that one in the Telegram. It's like a $2 million market cap. It's risky. But I think it can it pop? Yeah, I think it has the ability to pop. And it's a fighter game. And they've actually got like an Elon Musk character and they've got a Zuckerberg character. And they can fight and you can wager Doge and Cat token. So that's, I think that's Cyber Arena. Is that what you're talking about? Cat Cyber Arena? $2 million market cap or so. Another one we mentioned in the Telegram. I totally get the gaming narrative, but when you come from the gaming space, there's not a single game in Web3 that can compete correct game design, engine-wise. Right. A couple things. I think mobile gaming will be where it's at in the immediate future. And I think in the mobile gaming sector, it can compete. That's one. Two, I think AAA games like Star Atlas looks dope. I'm not a gamer, but Star Atlas looks dope. Illuvium looks dope. Those are still a ways away. But those, I think, will be able to compete. That's two. Three is it's about narrative also. Like you said, it's the narrative. It's like in the last cycle, we weren't close to having a realized, fleshed out metaverse. No one was in Decentraland. No one was playing in the sandbox. But that narrative and that speculative nature, that aspect of it, drove the prices up. And so oftentimes the narrative will front run the development. And it happened with the internet in the late 90s when the the internet, the bubble, .com bubble, and everything had a .com on it. That took a decade or two to fully flesh out and play out. And it wasn't until really COVID when you saw like it infiltrate every aspect of our lives, from Peloton to, exercise, Peloton, Uber. By then Uber was already out, but Google Classroom and education, transformed education, and COVID forced mass adoption. COVID really forced mass adoption of digital life. But 20 years ago, it was an idea, and the markets ran on the speculation of it. And that happens time and time again. And I think that, yeah, we're not going to see a Web3 Call of Duty or GTA, but we don't have to. for this narrative to play out. I do think, though, that the mobile games can do well. And, you know, I see Naka Games doing like tournaments of their version of Tetris. I see the engagement that they're getting, and I can see it taking off. Ooh, thanks. So I'll have more charts on here next week. I'm going to be on midweek, and I'll prepare a few more charts for you guys. Crypto Beehive says, what wallet do you use? For storage, I use MetaMask, Trust, and Phantom. I love Phantom Wallet on Solana. Super fast, no very cheap fees. MetaMask. Here's another tip. Create many wallets. You see, there are stories all the time of wallets getting drained. People clicked links or had their wallets connected someplace. There was, some NFTs, Bored Apes just got drained. A bunch of, you hear it happens every cycle. Protect yourself. I have 7 MetaMask accounts. As your portfolio grows and it's a decent chunk of money, you don't want all of that in one place. And so, my seed phrase will unlock my wallet, all of my accounts, but my wallets are siphoned off from each other. So if one account got compromised, I have 6 other MetaMask accounts, and I transferred my assets and I distributed them kind of evenly, so I don't have too much in any one wallet. I have a Trust wallet where my OMI is on, and some other stuff. And Phantom wallet is my Solana stuff. But it's so easy. If you have MetaMask, it's so easy to create extra accounts. You just literally click, create another account, and it creates it. And then you can just swap your assets and spread them out. If you have a lot of money in your MetaMask wallet, create multiple accounts. Protect yourself. But that's all I got for today. It's been about an hour and a half almost. I want to thank you all for coming through, spending part of a Sunday afternoon with me. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. As always, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Midweek, I'll be back with some more charts. Peace.